Hello, friends and fellow moms, and welcome to this week's episode of the Moms on the Air podcast. I'm your host, Katie Mahon, and I'm joined by my wonderful co host and daughter, Maddie Mahon. And this week, I'm so happy to be joined by Juliana Fondacaro Foundation GAR to discuss her motherhood story as well as how she empowers mothers to become mom bosses. So, Juliana, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
I'm so happy to be here.
And first off, I think if we just want to dive right into it, can you just share your personal motherhood journey and how it inspired you to help other moms, empower other moms into mom bosses?
Absolutely. So I think like so many of us, I mean, obviously the pandemic was horrible, but for me, I always look at it as a huge positive because that's when I decided to be a mom boss and create my own business because I did have both my kids during the pandemic. I have a 3-year-old daughter, so she was born in February 2020, right before everything shut down. And then I had my son in March 2022, so kind of at the back end of the pandemic. And just as I became a mom, and I always envisioned, we all do before we have kids, and what life would look like. But for me, it was always, okay, I'm going to have to go back to my 9-to-5 corporate job. My husband has his job. We're going to have to find daycare. And that was the plan. But once we were remotely at home, I became a mom. I found this new power in me of things that I was discovering that I was capable of doing. I always wanted to start my own business, but I never took that plunge into it. But once I was a mom and watching my daughter and being able to see all of the things she was learning and doing and not missing those things, I realized that I really wanted to start a business, and I had that super mom power in me to just go ahead. And I think that's something that I want moms to know, that they do have a special power. I always say that it's almost like once we get pregnant and go through labor and have this baby, it's almost like the universe gave us a superpower, like Spider-Man got bit by the bug. Like we were given something in us to be a little extra and be a little extra special. And I just, my goal is to continue on with my business so I can be home and see my children from the momhood of things, but also teaching them to have that extra passion and go towards what you want. So they really were my inspiration during the pandemic to start my business and work a little harder, later nights, early mornings, just to get it done. Also, I can be a part of their lives a little bit more and leave the corporate life.
No, I completely can relate to that. And it was something I know for me when, motherhood kind of fell into my lap. I always saw myself, kind of continuing life, my work life before that in the same way. And it changes,
Yes.
And for you, what's specific in your experience, working? I know you work with a lot of great moms who have businesses, throughout northern New Jersey. And in your experience, what specific challenges do you find moms facing when transitioning into entrepreneurship or starting their own businesses?
Absolutely. And I should have mentioned for viewers and listeners that I created my own public relations and marketing agency because I had worked in public relations for 15 plus years, and I realized that I could do it from home and work for people that I wanted to actually help. I was going to the city and driving long hours, commuting and working for clients that I didn't have a passion for. And once I became a mom, I realized I wanted to help moms in growing their businesses. So I work with and my foundation PR company is solely, the mission is to help only mom brands, mompreneurs, or female brands and female entrepreneurs, because I have that special feeling and passion towards women, especially moms, and helping them launch their business. And I work in a special way where I work with every client individually to work off their budget, to work off their dreams and hopes. And it's not like working with an agency in New York City where they'll be like, hey, X amount of money for this month, and then you only hear from them once or twice. I selectively only work with about 5 clients at a time. I don't like to go over. I don't like to go under. I like to make sure that I can give my time to my clients. So I am helping a lot of moms here in Jersey, but also, believe it or not, I'm helping a mom who owns a cosmetic company in Canada, one that owns one in Arizona.
Wow.
Yes. So I do span across the nation as well, and that's thanks to social media, and honesty, but they're all moms, everybody I work with, and they don't have to be, but right now everybody I work with is a
That's where
mom.
you're going.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, if you want to give a shout out to any of your clients, definitely, let us know.
I absolutely will. If anything, when you post this, I'll tag all the cosmetics companies because I know we all look for new skincare. I work with literally 5 skincare companies across the country. It's so funny how I've fallen into that niche, but more importantly, just the moms behind these brands that I'm meeting, especially locally too. And for the brands that I've worked with or am working with that aren't moms but are supporting moms, those are just as special too because they're teaching me things that I don't know as a mom, and I'm learning. I work with a pelvic health, and I still do work with a pelvic health expert here in Jersey, and I'll shout her out for Empower Pelvic Health. I didn't even know that was something I, as a mom or somebody that went through labor twice, had to,
Yeah,
that's
something
it's
that's something I think that a lot of moms don't even realize, like that importance that there's even doctors that specialize in pelvic health.
so when I think as much as they're learning from me for their businesses, I'm learning so much by the fact that I'm working with only women and moms because they're teaching me too. And believe it or not, they're actually becoming one of my favorite people I'm working with has become such a close friend. We're creating a community for ourselves, which we all need as moms. As you can see, I have my sidekick filling my headphones.
All good. All good. That's real life motherhood after, every goes after 5 o'clock. The witching hour has begun, and it's all downhill from there.
Yes.
So, also to just from your experience with working with moms, how can they leverage their unique experience and skills gained through motherhood to excel in their entrepreneurship?
I think that is such an important question. It's so important because everybody that I work with, honey, stop for a second. They think that their story is just like every other's, but it's not. So I do that digging to find out and ask the questions about every little thing so I can find something special in their story to share with people. I think moms can completely leverage that they are a mom and in not a way that promotes them or makes it look like, oh, I'm a mom doing it all. Hold on a second. I really work with them to just pull their story out. I'm so sorry.
Hey, no, it's all good for anybody who's listening right now.
I have my daughter.
My daughter who's going through teething is, swinging her teething ring, and Juliana's daughter is attempting to get her headphones, but this is real life motherhood.
And I just texted my husband's upstairs with the baby, and I just texted him. I was like, "You need to take her." But yeah, so I think moms, we tend to fall back and not give ourselves credit. So that's another thing. I really try to empower the moms to start. And it's not part of public relations, but I do kind of share with them some of the personal development routine that I do that will help them pull from that strength that they have that they don't know. Personally, I like to wake up early and get, workout in. I try to read even 10 pages a day. I get my walks in. I really try to tell moms that they need to give themselves some time too in order for their brand to grow, because you need to have that mindset that you can't always be thinking, what does my kid need, are they napping, are they, all the things that we think of as moms. You do need to take a step back and think about your business if you have a business. So I'm there to really help them dig and pull out some of the stuff they might not even know they're thinking about.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I couldn't agree with you more, especially, from the self-care aspect with, that's something that a lot of moms, I know my own, we, experience, we, put ourselves last every day, and it's doing at least, trying to make that effort to do one thing for yourself every day, whether it's reading, whether it's listening to a meditation app, whatever you could do, making that time is just so crucial for your own success.
And I do find you're working mostly with moms who have brands or businesses or want to have a brand or business. There is that mom guilt too. I feel like, when I need to do a call or work or, even right now, this is for me, right? And I'm connecting with you. And then there's that part my heart who's hearing my son crying upstairs, and my daughter wants me to come eat with her, and it's like the mom guilt you can't get rid of. And that's
Yeah.
why I try to work with clients very differently than, like I said, a PR agency would, and I work to fit into their schedule because I know they're moms and I don't want to put too much on them, and they're willing to work with me. And I think that's the best too. When you're working mom with mom, you both understand each other because you're
No,
both
100%.
and that's
You
been
know,
excellent.
you grow an appreciation for people who want to go through what you've gone through, or who can just really relate to you. And
Exactly.
from your from your experience, if you were meeting a mom for the first time who was looking to, asking for your help, what would be some tips or strategies you could give them with looking to balance the demands of motherhood while
Oh my gosh.
building a
Yeah.
successful business?
I think, I actually don't think there is balance. I think for so long we've heard that statement, find balance, find balance. Ever since becoming a mom, I have not, give me a second, please. I have not believed that there's balance. And, sorry,
That's motherhood.
my husband just grabbed her.
Listen, I get it. It's all good. Luckily, teething rings can occupy.
Yes. But, I don't think there is balance, but I do tell moms, you have to find the time for yourself. Even myself, I thought that when you create a business, you should go from here to up here, make the money, like have the money flowing in constantly type deal. But it's not like that. And you really have to give yourself time and space to let your business grow. I specifically remember working with a mom when I first started my business. It was, just a year contract, so we're not working together. I just helped her launch her brand, and she was so ready to dive in so fast and so heavily because she wanted it to go from 0 to 100. And I had to explain to her that's not how it works, in general. But also, you're a mom. You're at home with 2 kids like I am, and you can't dive into everything at once. You can certainly do everything, and I do believe that. And part of why I started the business was because I remember being at work during the pandemic, working my own boss told me there's no way you can have a business and be a mom at the same time, and that kind of gave that fire under my butt to prove
Sure.
but you can have a business and be a mom at the same time. You just have to realize you can't be 100 at well, you can't expect your business to be making 6-digit figures when you're raising 2 littles under 3 years old. So you have to go slow, but you have to do it correctly too, and give yourself room. I personally make sure that I don't do work on Fridays and Tuesdays because those are the days my daughter doesn't go to her morning school. I try to take the kids somewhere in the morning, and that switches every week. So I do that recommendation too. Give yourself the space to enjoy why you're starting a business. You decided to want to watch your littles grow. So why are you going to use that time to sit at the laptop all day? You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
And I often have to remind myself of that too when I'm at my laptop all day and putting the TV on for my daughter. I'm reminding myself she's really only going to be home with me for another year or two because it goes so quick before they start school. And I chose to quit corporate life and start a business so I can be a mom during these awesome years where they're littles and just like tugging at you and wanting you. So, I do think moms have to remember the why behind why they're starting a business too.
No, absolutely. I think that's, I couldn't agree with you more on it. And, from your experience, what role does public relations play in helping moms establish their own personal brand and promote their business?
So much. It goes back to what we were talking about before, finding your story and finding what your brand can do for others out there, whether it be moms or women or whoever it may be. In my case, like I said, I work with brands that are only for women or moms. And public relations, you have to get your story out there. We all have become with social media, and that is because I'm in public relations and have been since before social media became such a big thing. People forget that there are magazines, there are newspapers, there are podcasts, there are so many things and so many ways to get yourself out there. And my job is really to help moms hone in on their story and get it, put together down on paper so that they can just, if somebody were to call them and say, I want to do a story on you, but tell me your story, how do you condense that into 10 seconds? Because that's all the media has really when they have you on the phone. Like, they don't want to hear a long wind spiel. So I'm there to help, but I'm also there to help you create the direction and the brand that you want, the direction you want to go in. I was lucky enough to work with a friend. Actually, she was a guest on your show, from Mama Meetups, which is a great mom support group. And, I helped her kind of hone in on her story recently and really change up her social media. And we saw such an increase in followers and just creating your design and your feel. And I think that's another thing. We're so consumed by social media and moms. We watch so many things. Like, I know even in general, like, we watch things about how to feed your kids safely and this and that and the recipes and this, and like, we're watching all these videos, and then when we create our own brand, and we think that we have to be all over the place too. But what I tell moms is just find your story. Forget about everybody else. Just like I tell my daughter when she fights with my son, worry about yourself, not him. And that's what I think people need to start doing. And moms who are creating their brands, think about yourself. Don't think about anybody else. Just, what is your color? What is your logo? What is your desire? Because the thing is, you're not going to please everybody, and you're not going to get everybody to buy your product, but you're going to get the people you want to buy your product if you are true and genuine.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with that more. That's, great.
I myself face that problem. I've had, brands reach out to me that are, not my niche, not women, not moms. And I've definitely had that thought in my head of like, oh my God, what if I just take them on because it's money in the pocket, but then I'm not being true to what my website says and what my brand is if I take on brands that I don't want to represent. I never want, and again, I'm not speaking for other companies or brands, but for me, I want to represent brands that please me and fit my life even.
Yeah, no, that's, I definitely think being authentic is just such a part of developing a brand.
And it's hard to be authentic as a mom, right? Because we don't even know sometimes who we are. I was literally just telling somebody yesterday, I think this is the best I've felt since having my second kid over a year ago. It takes us so long to figure out where we belong again, right? And that's all part of postpartum and whatnot too. And I think that's why it's tough for moms to really hone in on what they want and what their brand is.
Yeah, no, and I know you mentioned before, Gia of Mama Meetups, and I that definitely, I love her brand, everything she stands for. Any other success stories of a mom you've worked with that you'd like to share?
I work with so many that I'm actually really, I'm trying to think specifically. It's not local, but I worked with, like I mentioned, I work with one down in Miami. She's owns a cosmetic line. It's such a great line. It's all about, feeling true to yourself. For me, so it's because of the public relations in me. I get excited when I could get these moms a media interview with like a very top-notch brand. So I was able to get her on Forbes and the Today Show and things like that. So for me, getting a mom to feel, I could feel the excitement in her email when I told her, like, so-and-so wants to interview you. I actually have a mom that I'm working with in Canada, like I mentioned, and today I got to send her an email to say U.S. News and World Report want to talk to you. She's a podiatrist, but she has a skincare line for feet, and she was ecstatic. And to me, that's my feeling of success. When I could give these moms, I can only imagine what she felt sitting there, and I know she has two littles running around, and getting that email of, wow, I got interviewed by U.S. News and World Report. That's such a big media outlet. And same with the woman that I work with in Miami, to know that Forbes.com wanted to do a piece with her expertise, commenting on something with skin. So for me, to give mom something to talk about when going to bed at night, that's a success for me.
That's awesome. And I just want to thank you so much for your time today, your insight, your insight into this wonderful topic, and just sharing your story. And I
Thank you.
appreciate you. Wish you the best. Hope you'll join us for a future episode.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you
Maddie,
so much.
for our listeners, thank you for tuning in today. I hope you'll join us next week, where we'll be joined by Kara, the owner of a Work of Heart Counseling, and she's going to be discussing prenatal and maternal mental health. And
I
thank you
love
again
her.
for
I love that.
yeah. That's awesome. Well, that's good. That's an endorsement. So thank you though again for everybody who joined us today. And if you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe where you're listening. Give us a 5-star rating. And until next time, I'm Katie. This is Maddie, and we are the Moms on the Air podcast.